Welcome one and all to a hazy summer scene in the state of Idaho, here in the town of Boise, amidst the green oasis with the River Guard making their regular ruckus as we greet you from Athletic Club Boise Stadium, where tonight's match is brought to you by KTVB. It's the namesake today, AC Boise, at odds with one of the league's most surging sides in the USL League One. Corpus Christi, the expansion club, hot to trot and ready for a fight here on the road with the former Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey. Howdy folks, I'm Peyton Geller and this is your table. AC Boise coming off a lump left on them in the midweek in the state of South Carolina, taking the loss, falling from an early lead of 2-1 to fall to Greenville. Triumph Corpus Christi hot on their heels on 22 points with 18 games played, playing maybe better than any team in the league as of late. And Gary, as we take a look back at precisely how that match took place in Greenville, it was a wild one. It would beat Boise, who struck first, but Greenville striking harder. Connor Evans there for the home team, able to get the game level, and in the second half it would be Azad Liati who would win the thing by a measure of 3-2, and it will be interesting to track how Nate Miller's squad maybe bounces back here in this one.
There's some fantastic goals in that match as well. A couple of overhead kicks to mention.
Number one play in Sports Center taking place in that game, but it's Thomas Among hoping that he might write the highlights here for this one. He is back in the starting 11, carrying 5 goal contributions on the year into this tie, and he will lead the line for Nate Miller.
He's a strong player up front, physical, quick, and he's got Blake Bodley and Nick Moon and others around him who can score goals. It's going to be a handful for Corpus Christi to stop here tonight.
For Ayman Zayed and the opponent today on the other side of the line, it is mainly about the defense that has turned around their season. They went the first handful of games, the longest streak for an expansion club to fail to get 3 points in the history of USL League One, but now unbeaten in 3 straight in the league. They have been one of the hardest teams to break through in front of goal with that low block. They've been absolutely sterling in the defensive duties.
Yeah, very physical side as well. They make it difficult for you, close you down, get in your face. It's going to be a tough match and a very physical match, I would guess, here tonight.
It will take so much out of them to try and come on the road and beat this elite Boise team, but as you see exactly the degree of the turnaround. After the start of June, this has been an unrecognizable outfit for Corpus Christi.
Yeah, it was a slow start to the season as they got to know each other, but they've impressed. They've gone better in terms of scoring goals, better in terms of not conceding as many in every single sense. Corpus Christi making great progress under their coach, Ayman Zayed.
First ever meeting between Corpus Christi and AC Boise. It's about to pop off in the state of Idaho. Playoff important points on the line between these two sides. They come nose to nose. When we return, it's AC Boise. It's Corpus Christi FC lineups and kickoff. Coming up when we come back. Big one on tap.
KTVB Plus, streaming live local radar 24/7. Watch as the storm rolls in and check the forecast whenever you want. Stream now and watch for free. Live radar 24/7, only on KTVB Plus.
In 1977, Ford F-Series became America's best-selling trucks. 33 million trucks later, we've kept that title every year since. And that's a formula we plan on repeating. F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 49 years and counting. And Ford, the most awarded brand for initial quality among trucks by J.D. Power. Ford F-Series, built Ford tough.
One bad turn, one wrong move, and you're down. Bring it. At St. Alphonsus, we see the fractures and the bigger picture. We move fast, sharp minds, steady hands, tech that guides every move. Rep by rep, week by week, we build you back stronger. This isn't just care, it's your comeback. So, bring it.
Hey buddy, why aren't we catching anything? I bet they're deeper down.
Unexpected plumbing issues? Diamond can help with prompt, reliable, high-quality service. Call the amazing team at Diamond Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric. From leaky faucets and broken pipes to water heaters and softeners, Diamond's 5-star heroes can help. Diamond.
Your home's best friend.
And it's live here in Boise, AC Boise, Corpus Christi, and it's all starting to fizz up here between the four lines at Athletic Club Boise Stadium. Again, with Gary Bailey, I'm Peyton Keller, and these player walkouts are presented by Ford. We've got the team news now for Boise, namely in Nate Miller. His squad highly rotated from the midweek.
6 changes to the team that lost to Greenville midweek. Moshaban comes in, Mayaka, Adams, Moon, Bodley, and Among in that 3, almost 5-2 shape. 6 lots of fresh legs from that midweek defeat. And besides Blake Bodley and Thomas Among up front, you got Nick Moon with 5 goals and Tumi Moshaban with 4. So great attacking outfit there.
An embarrassment of firepower for the home team. Again, lineups are presented by Ford, and for Corpus Christi and Eamon Zayat, A. Up for this game, B. Probably the most athletic lineup they could field.
Yeah, 2 changes to the side that beat Greenville 1-0 last weekend. Kahim Thomas is in for Nacho Abil and Thomas Pandeka for Jackson Dietrich in a 4-4-2 lineup.
A live picture in a robust atmosphere, it always is. Corpus Christi, it seemed in the preparation for this game, had made things personal here. They want this result desperately, so they have struggled mightily on the road. But again, unbeaten in 3 straight with only 1 loss coming since July 1st. That was in the Cup. Technically, that was a draw against 1 Knox. AC Boise trying to lick the wounds and get back amongst the wins after that hard-fought defeat against Greenville prior to that. Had been absolutely soaring, having won 4 straight prior to that match on Wednesday. And again, there is a degree of smoke in the air because of wildfires taking place in the state of Oregon. There was some question as to whether or not this match might proceed as planned, but the protocol for this, as we are told, and we will see it in practice, is the teams will take a break every 15 minutes to ensure overall respiratory health. That being said, partner Nate Miller was keen to let us know that he felt those first 15 minutes might be determinant for his team. They wanted to jump Corpus Christi. AC Boise does today.
Yeah, they want to put the pressure on, and having to stop after 15 minutes. Oh, chance already. And that's the sort of pressure that they want to apply, do Boise.
And there will be a corner kick coming for one of the most lethal teams in the aerial acrobatics. I don't think Corpus Christi were very content with that particular decision.
There's a lot of shouting and aggression already, and we spoke about the physicality you mentioned up front. It could be a tough match, and they're really screaming at the referee, and we're not even 2 minutes into this match.
And in fact, they've coerced the referee into altering the decision. Goal kick. Certainly looked like he pointed to the flag, yes?
Possibly. You're right, they did seem to get him to change his mind, but important 3 points up for grabs here for Boise. A win here will take them into the top 4. And that's the sort of direction with all this talent that they expect to be heading in. And for Corpus Christi, a win would take them just 2 points behind Fort Wayne and only 3 points off a playoff spot. With the league table coming into the weekend, of course, there's a lot of live matches going on. That could change things. So massive 3 points for both sides.
Something in terms of electricity has gotten into USL League One over the last couple of days as a clattering tackle comes in and a foul is called. You can expect a lot of this. Corpus Christi will try and make things physical to break up AC Boise's rhythm, but beyond that, when you look at what happened Wednesday, all the goals scored in that Madison game, as well as in the game involving AC Boise, and then you look at the fact that the only other match that's gone final today was 3-3 between Greenville and their opponent, Portland Hearts of Pine. Could be fireworks here in this one. Free kick. Lofted to the back stick. Looks like it was Dangler trying to knock it on and got a little over physical in that endeavor.
I think we have to give a lot of credit to both these sides, though, as new sides in the league, the progress they've made. Nate Miller with Boise has just been fantastic, breaking records for crowds, great vibe at the stadium. Fantastic lineup of players who've a lot of whom have got USL Championship rather experience. And then on the other side, Eamon Zayed's taken a Corpus Christi side with maybe more limited resources, and after a slow start, it's got them firing and going forward. So two top-class coaches building teams very quickly and very successfully.
You say USL Championship experience, even MLS experience, when you look at the new acquisition of Jesus Perea, who did score his first goal on his first start in the midweek, down to Josh Yarrow as well. Loaded for bear, this Boise side. Example number one is Nick Moon, who muscles into the final third and back heels to try and connect in Blake Bodley. Moon contested by two. He does away with them just fine. Goes for goal. Blocked on the way. Knotted back into the middle. And a springing, staggering tackle from Andrew Booth does away with it just in the dash of time.
Good defending by Corpus Christi, putting bodies on the line there. Great skills from Nick Moon to get that effort in. And have a look there, that tackle, risking body as you expect to be kicked in the process. But good pressure again from the home side, as we thought they would be in these first few minutes.
Gary, 5 minutes in, we take a peek at your keys to the game, and it feels like these things are already playing out.
Well, Nate Miller telling us we've got to match their physicality. We know they're a tough side, and we've got to match them in every aspect of that. And Eamon Zayed for Corpus Christi saying, look, we've got to be good on set pieces. It's an opportunity to get at them. And sometimes they leave space in the channels when they push too many forward, especially out wide. We need to grab that space left and right of the centre back. So those are the views of the two coaches.
Eamon Zayed making specific mention of Jake Dangler, feeling like they could access some of the spaces to his left and right when AC Boise do cheat the center backs into the attack. Charlie Adams charging one into the area from deep, just about nodded away. A little bit nervous defensively there for Corpus Christi as they have allowed for another Boise corner.
It's a Sun Cruiser corner kick for AC Boise.
Taken short, Nick Moon gets a better angle. And that vantage nearly yielded the breakthrough only 6 minutes in. Corpus Christi thinking they're lucky stars.
Nicely recycled here in terms of moving everyone around. And the flick on it, the near post from Moshaban. Always likely to end up flying in the back of the net. So again, good pressure from the home side. But they are up against a Corpus Christi team who've been hard to beat. You mentioned their good run recently, but they beat Greenville last match. They drew at Cosmos in an away match. They drew at home to one Knoxville in the USL Cup. They beat Chattanooga Red Wolves. So they're on a really good run, and they must feel confident and positive at the moment, the Corpus Christi squad.
Still one to come. It is important that Corpus Christi do take a couple pockets in this game to maybe turn the temperature down and just try and hold the ball for a little bit. They can't just sit and defend for 90 minutes.
No, that's very true. You have to be able to play through this press. Look at the number of purple shirts. They're just pressurizing and getting turnover ball. You've got to play through that. You can play over the top if you want. Try and play long to Kyle Thomas and Jack Keegan. That is one option. If you're going to play through it, you've got to be brave and you've got to be accurate with your passing.
Boise wearing their third change kit. Purple here today. One of the last couple of games. Did you ever wear purple when playing for Man United?
No, not one of our colors. Ours is white, red, or black with some combination. Occasionally blue, but never purple.
It is a sharp number. And they have been darting and dashing all around the field, doing their dance. Such an intricate and detailed way of playing that Nate Miller has already established here with Boise. And exploiting the space on the far flank and avenue and approaching on the home side. Moshaban goes down. It's a sturdy tackle. Driving away down the far touchline. And the counter might be on. Breaking free with ease. It's Bowen. He's been their main man, Blake Bowen, but he drags this one wide.
We're talking about playing through the press. That's exactly what they did there, Corpus Christi. Lovely play on the left-hand side. They did have Kyle Thomas on the right-hand side in the box. They're just waiting for maybe a square ball. That could have been an option. But we were just talking, how do you deal with a Boise press? Well, that was exactly the way to deal with it, Corpus Christi. Nice play.
Nevertheless, still a warning from Blake Bowen, even if the result wasn't what he would have hoped for. Player that, when he does get a goal contribution, Corpus Christi have accumulated 14 of their overall 22 points. Ball in and breezed across the bow before being dealt with by Jack Keeney. Another corner.
Yeah, applause there for that ball coming in. It's in a dangerous position there, and Blake Bodley nearly able to get on the end of that. They certainly are asking questions early on, Boise. The River Guard behind, providing support. Wonderful to see the vibe there at the Athletic Club Boise Stadium.
It's standing end, but I gotta imagine those folks would be standing regardless of what the seating arrangement was.
I prefer the standing thing. It got banned in Europe for a long, long time, especially in England, because of all the violence and problems, but much more fun to stand and bounce around.
Blood is certainly pumping as it comes down dangerously in the box. Prodded long. And off of Karam, it's another corner kick. Looked like Krul, who was on the business end there. Already the fourth corner inside the first 11 minutes of play. It's Charlie Adams, who is a bit of a practitioner from the dead ball. 11 minutes across the last two league games, but he gets the nod from the start here today, hoping to make an impact. Within swing. Swirling to the back stick. Got to get the lines clear, Corpus Christi. And they do shake out of the back. Down by Blake Bodley. Jake Dangler. Softening touch and spins it in! Tumi Moshaban put his head on it, glanced it wide.
Oh, it's another great ball in, isn't it? A fantastic delivery. Moshaban gets on the end of it. A little bit of pressure from the defender. Might have just put him off. Can't get that header on target, but the delivery, there's time. You see, you've got time to put your head up there and put that ball in. And just the arrival of a defender on his shoulder might have put him off there. But another really good chance from the home side, and decent ball in from Jake Dangler.
Goal kick for James Talbot. 4-save clean sheet for him. Also, in fact, in the last game against Greenville, both of these teams' most recent opponent, the South Carolinian side. Back-to-back clean sheets for him for the first time this year. Goalkeeper in good form. A delightful sound being produced by this surround sound crowd. Second ball belongs to Charlie Adams, who delicately just puts it for Thomas Among. And a clever bit of defensive foul up by Jack Keeney, who maybe thought he was a little bit more foxy in that endeavor than he was. Christopher Calderon dispenses the first yellow card of the game, and that will be a big figure to track.
Yeah, not good when you're a centre-back and you're picking up a yellow card this early in the match. Just limits every tackle you make afterwards. Let's see if it's worth it. Wow. There's a little tug on the shirt. But if that's the standard, then let's keep that standard going. Nothing against giving yellow cards for pulling shirts. But then you have to make sure that everyone who pulls a shirt or a pair of pants gets that same yellow card.
It's presented by Diamond Heating and Cooling. It belongs to Jack Keeney. And it's a free kick. AC Boise have scored on 4 of these this year, none of them direct. That is the highest figure in the division. A lot of big bodies to aim at. This is the luxury of playing with 3 center backs. It is something choreographed, though. Adams has hoisted it well too high.
That's a poor effort there from Charlie Adams. He's got a lot more ability than that and should get the ball in the danger area. It's amazing they've made 6 changes. Some of the players that they've given a rest or put on the bench: Dominic Gasso, Omar Yeye, Dennis Kostishin, Jesus Barea, the former MLS player. I mean, that talent normally starts a game, and that's the talent that's been pushed to the bench, because you've got Moshaban, Mayaka, Charlie Adams, Nick Moon, Bodley and Among coming in. It is a very, very deep and talented squad that Nate Miller has.
I mean, Gary, as the ball travels into a bit of confusion and will respot, looks like, for another attempt at that goal kick. You call a lot of games in the USL Championship, and maybe delay of game has yielded a corner here and a yellow card. So the goalkeeper is on a clock to get rid of the ball from the goal kick. And time wasting 15 minutes in. It won't be a corner because it wasn't a live instance of delaying the restart. But it will be Talbot on a yellow the rest of the way.
Now, the rules have changed in terms of the speed with which you have to get rid of the ball out of your hands from a goal kick, from a throw-in. And I like that. I think it's good. It gets the game moving, and players are going to slowly get used to the idea when you start picking up yellow cards or getting turnovers from throw-ins. You soon learn very quickly not to take advantage of time wasting.
Possession in conflict. It's gathered by Boise. You know, talking to Nate Miller building up to this game, he made an express point to us to say that he never wants to be the one who complains about the referee. In fact, he then went on to do exactly the opposite of that and praise the officials, but also said that he always appreciates when a referee does their homework and understands the assignment that's about to be in front of them and the teams at play. The referee has not suffered any nonsense so far with Corpus Christi. Already 2 yellows in the first quarter hour as this is out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's impressive refereeing. Would love to have seen that in the World Cup final because I think that would have changed that game. But anyway, that's gone in the history books. But yeah, you know, it's certainly do feel it's, if the referee feels that teams are taking advantage, then absolutely bring out the book, because you stop it quickly that way.
Pulled wide for Ricketts, and it's a pointless effort in the end. James Talbot more than happy to hang on to it.
Not the best of shots though from Ricketts, was it? He needs to maybe do a little bit better. He's done the hard work. He's got himself in a great shooting position, but just not able to really test James Talbot. But again, back to the referee. If you're tough in the first few minutes, then generally you set the tone for the rest of the game. If you allow things to go in the first few minutes and everyone says, okay, fine, well, if that's the limit, if I can get away with a shirt tug or I can get away with a late tackle, then they're all going to do it. So again, first few minutes for a referee, I think it's crucial to be tough, whereas a lot of referees tend to do the opposite. They go, well, I'll let the first tackle go, or I'll let the first misdemeanor go. I think the opposite. You want to nail the first misdemeanor to make sure that everyone then toes the line.
Just for the matter of accounting, it's James Talbot and Jack Keeney who have to defend on a tightrope for the rest of the game. Blake Bodley in. Man arriving, and it's dummied away by Thomas Among. Not sure if that was the intent, but nonetheless, it's another passing glance from AC Boise.
Another good opportunity, another dangerous ball into the box. You do feel if they keep that sort of pressure on, eventually something's going to fall their way.
Mounting pressure on the Texans, who have scarcely been out of their own half, aside from that one moment of solo work from Blake Bowen in the early going. Clutching at it, or Corpus Christi. That is a tackle that has crossed the boundary. Charlie Adams thought that he had cleanly dispossessed the oncoming player, looks like Patrick Langlois.
He's having a debate, and it looked like a fair tackle, but if you get the player first, let's just see how it transpires here. There's Charlie Adams. It did look like it was a fair tackle, but the referee was very close, and he might have felt that he got the player just before he gets the ball.
In fact, that was Bubu Mudina who was taking the blow there. So 6 for 26, excuse me. And it's a free kick, and this is the set piece opportunity Corpus Christi been waiting for. Ball in, and it bounces dangerously, even though Cleaver will be able to snag it. It's those moments where AC Boise will be the most vulnerable against this particular opponent, it feels like, though.
Yep. And I was just thinking that it's a waste of a good opportunity there. It was straight through to the keeper. Try and keep it away from the keeper, whip it in, and give your strikers and big guys a chance to attack the ball. Eamon Zayed saying, and it was one of his keys, was set pieces. Well, they didn't use that one, didn't get the best out of it, did they?
Jake Krul driving forward menacingly. I think you're spot on there. They're going to have to be so efficient in how they utilize these dead ball situations, Corpus Christi, in moments like this in the transition. It fumbles off the first touch of Jake Dangler. Striding ahead is Thomas Pondeka. Rounding the cul-de-sac and putting it into the box for Kaihim Thomas, who's won a corner, who's trying to square it, had a man waiting. Thomas making only his second start of the year and nearly came up big.
Now they have that set piece. This is where they can throw all the big boys forward. Jack Keeney, Roscoe, and some of the fullbacks, Longwa, Gomez. You can just see them coming into the box now, the big guys. Now it all comes down to that service. You don't want too much time on the ball. It allows Jonathan Cleaver to come clutch it. You want to whip that ball in.
It belongs to Blake Bowen, who's sharpening the knife. Put in right into the center of the 6-yard box. It's still there. A pop from Pondeka and picked up. We'll go it again. Bowen. It's Mayaka and Moon in front of him. And Moon says no more of that. And he's off and underway now. Just looked like he may have stepped on the foot of Bowen. But it nonetheless will be a yellow.
Wow, the referee certainly is laying down the law here, which again, I've no problem with at all, but as long as you're consistent throughout the match, and if something similar happens the other way, then the card comes out. There was a little bit of a, it might be afterwards, it might not have been the actual tackle, it might have been the way Blake Bowen took his time to get up. Have a look here, as they go down, he takes a bit of time, sort of pushes, leans over into Nick Moon. That is what might have annoyed the referee.
That is 3 players now that have had their names scribbled by Christopher Calderon. James Talbot, the goalkeeper, you don't worry too much about that. There's not really an instance in the game where a goalkeeper's going to get a yellow for a live foul, but still something to be aware of. And then center back Jack Keeney, as well as the most recent man to join them, Blake Bowen. Hurled wide. On the run, AC Boise. Tumi Moshaban has run out of runway. Nothing in that.
I think from a coach's point of view, I don't mind sometimes if that happens, because you want your talented players like Moshaban to run in the box. It forces defenders to commit themselves. Sometimes you get a penalty from it. If not, the defenders leave you alone and maybe you get to pass the ball to who you want to. But that sort of positive play from Tumi Moshaban might still produce dividends for Boise.
I'm just now realizing we're past the 23rd minute, so it does not look like the air quality protocol that we were told about will be employed into the game. Away by Talbot. And a Boise player nipping at his heels, down by Nick Moon.
And it's probably a good thing as well, because soccer's not meant to have 15-minute breaks. It's just not how it works. And in fact, Nate Miller was saying, the whole idea at home is we put teams under pressure. If they get a break after 15 minutes and 30 minutes, then they get to release that pressure. So, I mean, certainly if it was a health issue, go ahead. You must do what's good for the players. But if you can get away with not doing it, then it certainly is better as far as soccer is concerned.
No doubt. Adams on it. And he's been able to work through a crowd. Wide now, Nick Moon. Making things uncomfortable is Nick Moon. Now Blake Bodley. Waiting on it in the back stick. It falls free. It's saved. It comes down to Moon again. It's blocked. Still there. And onto it is James Talbot with a heavy sigh.
Wow, another moment for the home side. That ball comes in. Blake Bodley here just dinks it up. Lovely little weight on it. I'm not so sure about the overhead kick from Moshabar. Maybe a header was a better option. And then it gets put straight back in there with that shot from Moon. It's bouncing everywhere, and the goalkeeper has to be really sharp there, James Talbot.
I think he was studying Lucas Meek.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. That was some overhead kick from Lucas Meek. Caught that absolutely perfectly. Tough one for Boise. Nothing you can do about that sort of strike, although I don't think Nate Miller was happy that the ball wasn't cleared in the first place.
Threading through, it's Keegan! Another big save, this time on the Boise end. And belted wide.
Jonathan Cleaver with a fantastic save here. Comes to Keegan. And outside of his foot, he's trying to bend it towards that top corner, and goalkeeper comes up with a nice agile save. Puts it again outside of the foot. Goalkeeper equal to it.
Jake Keegan, he's having a bit of a resurgent season. Now over 35 years old. 3 goals for him on the year. Most productive since 2023. In fact, one of the most decorated strikers in the division's history. 35 career goals, Gary, and guess who his first came against? Nate Miller's Lansing Ignite in 2019.
Wow. Guess Nate Miller's not looking forward to watching him play against his teams.
Those two have covered a lot of ground since that day, as they have moved through on their respective careers. Nate Miller back in League One after making a name for himself at all ranks and levels of the American soccer pyramid. Jake Keegan, one of the very best to ever lead a line in USL League One, and we hadn't caught his name until that very moment, but that might be the measure of what kind of player he is. Rocked around to the near side, Nick Moon. That's a well-spotted ball for Andrew Booth, and Thomas Pondeka is down to the blocks. And just at the last instance, it was Jake Dangler who stretched to wall him off, and Pondeka went right into the advertising board. Dangler checking on him, and hopefully Thomas Pondeka is all right. Physios are being summoned almost immediately, though, by the referee, and this is not a pretty sight.
I do think it's important for players' safety that those sort of advertising hoardings on the side should be made of softer material, because if there are iron poles in it, which you often have to try and straighten it out, then as a player you go flying into that. Got to find some way of making it padded material, so if you do hit it, you're not likely to break any bones.
I think that metal pole may have landed in a very uncomfortable spot upon review. Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
I do think that might have to be reviewed from the players' union point of view for the safety of the players.
Pondeka is up, and with the dust clearing from that moment, it is a corner kick for Corpus Christi, trying to be a little bit more useful than they have in their first couple of set-piece deliveries. Blake Bowen is the team's leader in chances created with 28 so far this year as Pondeka walks off. And they're just going to take a wild swing at this at the crook of the 6-yard box. Looked like Jake Keegan. And it's a throw-in for Corpus Christi. Pondeka is back on. Pondeka, who hadn't played in 4 games prior to that game against Greenville, got 24 minutes there and get a much longer run out here in this one. Is meddling inside the 18 now. Punched away by Cleaver. Booth thumping wide and unable to provide that lassoing touch is Jake Keegan.
That's a good punch from Jonathan Cleaver there. A lot of pressure that's flicked on at the near post. And you want your keeper to come and dominate, which he does. Punches it well clear of the box. Excellent goalkeeping by Jonathan Cleaver.
Chance to examine the St. Alphonsus injury billet here, and the report, thankfully for both teams, is none, as play does stop, and we will have an air quality break here at the half-hour stage now. Both teams without any injuries, yes, but there are absences, and on the Boise side, there are injuries. They're just long-term ones. Players like Luan Brito, who's been down with an injury for quite some time. Jared Mazzola barely got going. Being brought in from Las Vegas in the USL Championship before he hurt himself. He's been out for an extended period. On the Corpus Christi side, it is an endeavor today without one of their most important midfielders, Enoch Kwakwa, as he is on an accumulation suspension. It is that time of year where players are starting to reach out at that threshold. He hits 8, so he serves his suspension today, as well as another absence in the form of Javier Mariona, who's away on international call-up with the Philippines. Flags are flying and everybody's enjoying each other's company, as they so often do here in this venue. Just a chance to, make nice with your neighbor, maybe, here in this break.
Great vibe there, fantastic stadium, fantastic crowd there in Boise. But they're having a hard time breaking down Corpus Christi. And to be fair, Corpus Christi have only conceded 5 goals in their last 8 matches. You showed that stat at the beginning of how they've changed in recent times there with Ayman Zayed. He's made such a big difference. So they're defensively very, very tight. And even in their last match, Corpus Christi, when they beat Greenville 1-0, they scored early on through Bubu Medina and then just defended. They had an XG, expected goal, of just 0.2, which is the lowest ever in League One history for a home team win. They basically scored and then locked up shop and didn't bother to attack after that.
I'm aghast. Mr. Stats and Info over here. Hashtag analysis.
And James Talbot had to make 4 saves as well to help them keep that clean sheet. So, again, to the point that they've defended really well here, Corpus Christi, and a bit frustrating for Boise, given how many little half chances they've made in the opening 30 minutes.
I do want to say something to that effect, though. It has slowed down a little bit after a really rip-roaring first quarter hour or so. Corpus Christi may be starting to influence this game on the kind of trajectory that they would have hoped for during that stretch at the start.
Yeah, they've played through the press a couple of times, and they're being able to find their way out of that high press from Boise. And also, it's very difficult to keep a high press going. You're going to tire you out eventually. So, yeah, Corpus Christi working their way back into the match, having a few little half chances themselves. But their problem, 2 outfield players on yellow cards, Blake Bowen and Jack Keeney. And that means that both those players have to watch whatever happens next. Referee Chris Calderon has made it very clear he wants it played in the best possible way, and he's going to bring those cards out. And Charlie Adams there just having a few words, and I think all the players will know from those yellow cards that they're going to have to behave themselves from this match going forward.
And usually when something like that happens, a yellow card in the first half, it's something that dances in the mind of a manager, especially one as sharp as Ayman Zayed, with the substitution patterns. But you look at the players who have gotten the booking so far, not substituting your goalkeeper. That's not happening, as this comes wide to Nick Moon. And we are back underway. You're not really going to substitute one of your best center backs that's basically played every minute this year in Jack Keeney. In fact, he is the team's leader in touches and passes to this point in the year, and you're not going to substitute your best attacking player in a game like this in Blake Bowen until you absolutely have to. So this is something that you're going to need to track for at least the next hour, you would imagine.
And also those players have to make sure that they don't get a second yellow.
Shot from range, pushed over goal. Again, Jonathan Cleaver is examined from distance, and it's not done away with yet. Ball back in, ducked away from harm's reach on this occasion. Corpus Christi throwing blows right from the restart.
Yes, from a long way out as well.
Hooked in and endeavored away by Jake Dangler.
And to your point, they've played their way into this match. They've sort of weathered the early storm from AC Boise, and they're now getting the confidence to take shots and make runs at that back four. And another good save from Jonathan Cleaver. He's been fairly busy these last 10 minutes.
You wouldn't know it based on the 3 goals he conceded against Greenfield, but he was truly excellent in a lot of moments throughout that game and really kept Boise in it in a couple moments. Still scoreless here in this first ever meeting between Corpus Christi, AC Boise, and that's another grappling foul. That could be some trouble here.
Here's a shot coming from way out from 25 odd yards and hit really, really well.
They're howling and booing and didn't get a great look at which of the defenders for Corpus Christi was tethered up in that tackle. Of course, it looked like it was Keeney coming over from the left-hand side, committing a professional foul, which by the exact interpretation of the rule book should have been a second yellow.
Yeah, I do think referees, if it is him, referees take a slightly different view on the second yellow. It has to be a little bit more egregious. And I think that's fair enough, because to lose a player off the pitch, it's a big, big decision to make.
Does that bar come down throughout the back half of the game?
It shouldn't do, because still, no matter if you lose a player, I think it's a big step to take. So, yeah, the second yellow card has to be a proper yellow. I think if there's any leeway, you probably let the player off, but you let him off with a warning. So if it happens again, you know, two average fouls equals 1 bad foul.
Mayaka onto it. AC Boise finally setting up camp. The attacking half after a long stay where the ball has almost exclusively either been in contest or in their own end. Swashbuckled wide by Jake Dangler. Krul, all-time leader in USL League One in touches and passes, Jake Krul. Now watching Blake Bodley make his name in the division. First season in the league as he was trying to link with a player that he has so often shared the field with in Nick Moon. In his career prior to Boise, those two had played together 52 times with San Diego Loyal and Tampa Bay Rowdies, and they're both on this left-hand side. That's where most of the menacing moments for Boise have come. And here's another. Bodley in. Well-shaped ball. Such an awkward height to deal with, but the long-term veteran Shannon Gomez comes in, sweeps up.
That's a great cross from Blake Bodley. I mean, it's whipped in. It is so difficult to defend against, and they do well to get rid of it to Corpus Christi. But if there was a runner, a little bit more in the middle, that would have been a fantastic header to run onto. I think that's what they're waiting for, AC Boys, is that one cross that just happens to meet a good run by a striker, and then they'll be in the lead. They put in a lot of good testing balls so far.
Pondeka has pinched it for Corpus Christi. Andrew Booth. A little wriggle free of the tackle. Phil Mayaka, but foul has been awarded. And there's a player down. Looks like Pondeka took another blow. And it should be a booking here for Philip Mayaka, it seems.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee has issued a yellow card to AC.
Well, I think this was earlier, yeah, the foul had happened a little bit before this, and the referee allows advantage, and then when the advantage doesn't accrue, comes back and gives the yellow card for that tackle there on Pondeka.
Tell you this, Diamond Heating and Cooling have been getting their money's worth in this first half with the yellow cards. It's another one. Short to Booth, who breaks the line brilliantly. Stopped up, shot away, and glanced over goal.
Oh, frustration. It took a deflection that could have been on its way into the back of the net. And again, a very good move there from Corpus Christi. Nice ball played into the box. And a cut back, and then a shot that, as we said, if it wasn't deflected, it might have given Jonathan Cleaver a real big problem.
Blake Bowen training his sights on target again. Pondeka providing the short option, and they cycle through another for him. Better angle here maybe for Bowen. Plots in a cross. Away on that occasion by Yarrow. And Boise unable to string up the break.
the sort of whole momentum has switched, hasn't it? Corpus Christi now looking at least as good in the attack as AC Boise have been. And threatening with a couple of shots on the edge of the box and some good turns within the box.
And this was always going to be the real test of the progress that Ayman Zayed and his bunch have made. They've done all this positive work basically exclusively at home. Played 6 of their last 8 League One games in their home venue. 1 loss and 1 draw in those 2 away fixtures. They're one of a handful of teams in the league that have yet to claim victory on the road, having played at this point on 9 occasions with 4 draws and 5 losses, and they are managing this moment quite well. Another cutting tackle. Was it Mayaka or was it Ricketts? Regardless, no yellow card. Swerving along and in the groove for Kaihim Thomas, who leaves it wide. Patrick Langlois has his cross blocked. Another corner kick. They have absolutely extracted all the verve out of this building in the last 10 minutes since the restart.
I've done a great job. Soaked up so much pressure in those first 20-25 minutes, have Corpus Christi. And now they've worked their way back into it. They certainly are a threat at the moment.
With movement to the back post, knocked down and straight at Jonathan Cleaver. Anywhere else, and that might be 1-0. Nonetheless, leaving it in the rearview mirror as a shrinking object. Or AC Boise. Moshe Bond slowing the beat.
Be careful allowing headers in your box from a set piece. Got to be a little bit tighter than that, Boise, in defense. Lucky that header sort of didn't have enough power to cause Jonathan Cleaver too many problems.
Nick Moon has left the ball in the lurch. Charlie Adams will come to keep it and then fall straight over. Bubu Medina was the one who put the knock on it. Medina did score in the most recent match, the only goal in that game you were talking about earlier against Greenville. On this occasion, he's given away the foul.
Yeah, nice little flick on header from Medina early on in the match, and then it was all defense from there from Corpus Christi. There's a ball put in, a lovely bending cross from Dietrich that allowed Medina to get that one and only goal in that match.
At this point in the game, Gary, Boise have nearly doubled the total number of passes that Corpus Christi have. Approaching 200 now for the game, but the most telling metric is both teams have had 6 shots and have put 3 on target.
That's come in 2 different spells. First 20 minutes, all the home side looking really good and threatening, and great crosses ending up in the box, and goalkeeper James Talbot having to make a few saves, and the next 20 has been mostly Corpus Christi.
Moshe Bond skirting 1 tackle, but not a second. But it's a foul. Our advantage is not absolute at all. Certainly the referee has a better one, but it did look on first glance that Kaihim Thomas won the ball ahead of Moshe Bond.
It did, but these days you've also got to see, was it a dangerous tackle that catches the player? So
True.
Let's have a look. Moshe Bond, let's see, gets it. Well, he gets the ball first, Moshe Bond, but then it does look as if Thomas then tackles him. We'll get a closer look. Touch, tackle. Look, certainly in years gone by, that's a fair tackle. These days, referees, if the player gets clipped in the process, they might still deem it to be dangerous play.
And it looks like some addressing has been given to one of the dugouts here.
And it's another St. Alphonsus free kick for AC Boise.
Corpus Christi have to shrink this into their memory, though. This is beachfront territory for a free kick to be taken at goal. It is presented by St. Alphonsus, and it belongs to Charlie Adams. James Talbot stacking sandbags in a levee that has to hold.
You have to stay a yard away from that wall if you're a Boise player. There's a little bit of a gap for the keeper to see through. I'm of the opinion you should just aim for that gap and test the goalkeeper, because it's coming through a lot of bodies. And James Talbot might find it difficult to hold on to the ball, so you follow it up. Referee's saying you've got to keep that yard.
Big Jake Dangler put one outstretched hand on Blake Bowen's chest, and he went over like he'd been shot. Charlie Adams, never a chance.
See, that's frustrating for me. If you're a coach there, I'm saying to keep it low, make the goalkeeper work, and we'll follow it up. But when you slam it over the crossbar, nothing the keeper has to do. Nothing easier from a goalkeeper's perspective than someone doesn't even hit target. And Charlie Adams is good enough to make sure that James Talbot has to get his body behind. There's so many people in front of you as a keeper that long as you just try and get that shot on target, it's not easy.
They've already gotten him for one yellow card here. Sorry, excuse me. I thought for a second there might be some issue with the goal kick. Certainly the folks in attendance are making a noise to that effect. It's back to Cleaver to clean up. And that's a throw-in. Heading towards extra time, or rather I should say stoppage time here. And it's a chaseable ball for Thomas Among. Sam Roscoe pushing him towards the corner, and now reinforcements arrive. Cruel. Four minutes is the official word.
Ladies and gentlemen, stoppage time is brought to you by Diamond Heating and Cooling. The fourth official.
Slaloming away, it's Blake Bottley. He's snaked by one. Now he goes for goal and rips it wide.
Another little half chance, and a player as good as him, again, just hit the target, get the ball to dip in front of the keeper. You don't have to get it right in the corner. There's so much good work. The run is there, gets the edge of the box, everything's looking fantastic. That final product just hasn't quite worked for Boise. A lot of, you've got to give them an A for the effort and the quality of crosses into the box, but it's that final touch, that final bit of quality has been missing so far. But still, plenty of time left in this match.
Maybe just a little bit of frustration cheating in from the periphery of view for Boise. Final action remains elusive. Good touch from Charlie Adams. Just magnetized the ball to his commands. And now Mayaka. Rhythm's so important to what Boise do, just progressively breaking through teams and dissolving a low-lying block. Can they start to spin up their tempo? Mayaka has done well to keep it. Cruel. Nick Moon has come all the way inverted from left wing back to the right side of midfield. Cruel showed just a little bit of the ball there, it looked like, to Pondeka, but kept by AC Boise. Scouting delivery up ahead for Moshaban. Ricketts, former teammate of Ayman Zayed's with Chattanooga Red Wolves all the way back in 2019. Nick Moon connecting the dots. Moshaban had left his run a little bit wide for the return ball.
Again, Moshaban just trying to do that, running at the defense, lays it off to Nick Moon and tries to get it back. Didn't work out, but again, you've got to applaud the effort and the positive nature of it, and it really forces the Corpus Christi defenders to be on their toes.
Most defenders gleefully watching as their team pushes on for maybe one last crack at getting the opening goal. Using the full width here, bringing in Patrick Langlois. And really his move to right back is what changed the season for Corpus Christi. Maybe a chance to talk about that a little bit more in the second half, but a player that had never really played at right back, despite having served with Ayman Zayed in Northern Colorado previously. He's picked up that mantle, and from that moment on, Corpus Christi have found an identity defending the ball as they do here. Langlois trying to head off Nick Moon. Might be some space for Bottley to attack with him having stepped out of line. Only bumped off the ball. Pondeka pirouettes by one. He's got runners all about. Goes it alone! Another save from Jonathan Cleaver.
This is a good run. Good turnover ball and hits it from all of 25 yards. It's a great save from Jonathan Cleaver. That is going in the far corner. And again, Boise exposed there. When they lose possession in midfield, they've got a lot of bodies forward. And they end up having to backpedal there, and Pondeka is able to run right until that 25-yard mark and let one go.
At the near post, first contact belongs to AC Boise. And that will be the final instance of a first half that, by all means, did not go quietly, but goes without a score, 0-0 at the intermission.
It's been an exciting game. I mean, no goals have gone in, but we've seen Jonathan Cleaver make 2 or 3 really important saves in the last 20 minutes. Before that, James Talbot in the other goal had to make a few saves. The defense had to clear some great crosses into the box. So there's been no lack of good opportunities. What's been missing is that final touch to create the goal. But a decent first half from both sides.
A big atmosphere for a big game that has lived up to the billing. We are scoreless at the break. It has been a nip and tuck, jaw-clenching affair so far in the state of Idaho. AC Boise, 0. Corpus Christi, 0. With halftime coverage on the way. Shots are flying, highlights being made. Is there a point of difference to be found in the second half? We'll examine all we've seen to this point when we come back. Halftime coverage on the way.
Every business has a story. Maybe you're just getting started. Maybe you're expanding. Maybe you're ready for a fresh start with a bank that truly cares about your business. We're Banner Bank, and we want your business to succeed, to stay competitive, to get to the next level. And we have a long history of helping businesses just like yours. Banner Bank. Better ideas, better banking.
Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Refreshing and goes down smooth. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
Every day, you give it all you've got. Because every day demands it. Chasing, climbing, committing, until something takes you down. At St. Alphonsus, our sports medicine team gets you back up with sharp minds and steady hands, helping everyday athletes like you take on tomorrow. So when you demand greatness, bring it.
From the beginning, Idaho has been home. Since 1968, we've stayed true to what matters most: hard work, local ranching, and exceptional beef. As pioneers of American Wagyu, we're involved every step of the way, from ranch to table. Unforgettable beef, done right, by people who care. Snake River Farms, proud supporters of Athletic Club Boise.
It's all coming to life in an all-important fixture in the USL League One, just about at the meridian point of this 2026 season. Here in Boise, we are scoreless at the intermission, but we'll look in on all things USL. Now we step aside to check in and touch base with Dan Lucas. Your USL halftime update.
Unreal. A jaw-dropping leveler. Stoppage time drop. Wonderful finish in the USL.
Prinks Tires in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines. From early mornings to late nights. From fun with friends to winner takes all. From the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinks Tires will be there for the long haul.
It falls inside. It's smashed home. It gives Richmond the lead.
Got a plotter headed down and buried. Cosmos equalize.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Pain.
In 1977, Ford F-Series became America's best-selling trucks. 33 million trucks later, we've kept that title every year since. And that's a formula we plan on repeating. F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 49 years and counting. And Ford, the most awarded brand for initial quality among trucks by J.D. Power. Ford F-Series, built Ford tough.
In the midst of intermission here, we remain scoreless in Boise at the KTVB halftime. Corpus Christi FC 0, AC Boise 0. Chance to take full account of the standouts from the week that was in the USL League One. The team of the week in the chosen 11 does involve Jake Krull, who did score against the Cosmos at the weekend and has been one of the primary contributors for Nate Miller and this group here in the state of Idaho, right at the smack dab center of the back three. Siobhan John Brown leading what has been a breakout period in the calendar for Spokane Velocity as they continue to climb the table, and everything is so close amongst those contending playoff teams. But for now, we step aside for another look in on what's going on in the USL ecosystem.
They are more than shiny and new. The latest collection of brand new stadiums in USL are a commitment to communities. Fans in Boise have set attendance records. Finishing touches greet the fans in Fort Wayne weekly. In Greenville, Triumph fans are in love with their permanent new home. These projects take time and patience, but nothing gets a community excited like seeing a shovel in the ground. Detroit City of the USL Championship has gone from dreams to renderings to construction. At its recent groundbreaking in Southwest Detroit, Alumni Phi Stadium became a vision for the very near future.
We've been incredibly fortunate to create something that's way bigger than us, and that we have the great fortune of being stewards of it. And the stadium represents really an investment in that community, an investment in this neighborhood, a tremendous investment in the city, and something that will be around for generations to come.
With this stadium, the club is investing in its future and demonstrating a long-term commitment to building a sustainable, community-driven club. I'm excited for what the future holds for Detroit City. I can't wait to be back here for the opening match in 2028. And I want to say congratulations to the fans, supporters, ownership group, and the entire community that made this amazing new home possible.
At 15,000 seats, Alumni Phi raises the bar for Detroit City. Soon there will be more groundbreakings and sounds of stadium construction as USL gets closer to the launch of Premier.
Every business has a story. Maybe you're just getting started. Maybe you're expanding. Maybe you're ready for a fresh start with a bank that truly cares about your business. We're Banner Bank, and we want your business to succeed, to stay competitive, to get to the next level. And we have a long history of helping businesses just like yours. Banner Bank. Better ideas, better banking.
You want more than care. You want a partner who hears you. Bring it. At St. Alphonsus, we listen to your story, your concerns, what makes you, you. We connect the dots, catch what matters early. Not just today, but for the long haul. Checkups are just the start. We're here for every chapter. So, bring it.
From the beginning, Idaho has been home. Since 1968, we've stayed true to what matters most. Hard work, local ranching, and exceptional beef. As pioneers of American Wagyu, we're involved every step of the way, from ranch to table. Unforgettable beef, done right, by people who care. Snake River Farms, proud supporters of Athletic Club Boise.
KTVB Plus, streaming live local radar 24/7. Watch as the storm rolls in and check the forecast whenever you want. Stream now and watch for free. Live radar 24/7, only on KTVB Plus.
We come to you in contest. At least the score is 0-0 between AC Boise and Corpus Christi FC. That doesn't mean there weren't highlights in the first half. As we look back at how we arrived at this point, first half highlights are presented by Banner Bank.
Players 10-15 minutes and then start to make the changes.
Teams are back out. Probably not fair to call this a six-pointer. Both these teams in a position where a loss is not the end of the world by any measure. But that being said, for Corpus Christi especially, if they can come out and hold their nerve just a little bit longer than AC Boise, get this win on the road, that is a signal of significant intent for them in the back half, especially with how well they're playing. For AC Boise, you're just trying to stave off consecutive defeats, and both these teams will look into each other's eyes, and it will be a staring contest for 45 minutes.
I think the need is probably bigger for Corpus Christi, and then they're outside of the top 8 and the playoffs. They need to get in, whereas Boise are in. They don't want to fall out, of course, but you can't really see that happening. They're such a good side, and they're in a position where they should be able to hold on to that top 8 place. But for Corpus Christi, after a slow start to the season, they've got lots of work to do yet before they can claim a playoff position.
AC Boise have been a second half team. They surge as they slowly break down an opponent's focus. They, to this point in the year, have scored 17 second half goals, which is right thereabouts the top marks in the division. That was the big fault, though, against Greenville in the midweek. And given it was off a hard travel week where they had to drive down from New York to South Carolina following their game against the Cosmos, they didn't score in the second half of that one, though. Greenville did, and that was the difference. Questions to be answered. They will be over the next 45 minutes here in the state of Idaho. Once more with the former Manchester United goalkeeper, Gary Bailey. I am Peyton Gallagher. This is USL League One. Most specifically, it's Athletic Club Boise and Corpus Christi FC for the very first time. Both teams remaining unchanged for the break in. Belting away and making his quality well known is Nick Moon, but the ball is lost on its entry into the middle. We did spotlight Thomas Among as that key man leading the line and providing some stretch for AC Boise heading into the match. He's been all but silent.
He can just pop up, though, in one moment and score a winning goal. That's what they're hoping for, AC Boise.
It was Pondeka who came tilting into Jake Dangler, and Dangler was able to, with grit and grin, get it back for the home side.
I think if you're neutral, what you want obviously is a goal. Would have been nice to get one in the first half for either side just to open things up, and especially for Boise at home, if they can get a goal, this crowd will start really getting pumped up because such a fantastic crowd behind them. But both teams deserve to have scored, in my opinion, and it's just a pity they haven't, because goals lighten up matches and they give you a little bit more to talk about, and teams get quite feisty when goals go in. So let's hope we do get a few goals in the second half.
Threaded down the line, and brilliantly so. Thomas in. Couldn't get by Cool, but now he does in splendid fashion, but not going to get the best of Jonathan Cleaver.
Thomas did well there to actually get around the defender, but then I'm thinking, can he maybe pull it back? It was at a very tight angle to score. But again, nice and positive. And both these sides, you have to commend them for the players up front to get in the box and have a go. It's great to see players being positive, backing themselves, getting in the box and trying to get a shot on target.
Wish he would love to do exactly that and test James Talbot into the middle of the park. Tap back along. Moon has a pop. It's blocked on the way, and James Talbot will be casual about the affair. He knows they won't stop that clock, or start that clock, I should say, until he picks it up. Now he does and distributes wide.
To be fair to the referee, since he doled out those yellow cards, everyone else has been a lot more careful with their tackles. And again, to the point that I was saying, I really prefer referees to be stricter up front, and that sets the tone rather than to let things go and then have to try and control the game, which is a lot more difficult to do.
Jack Keeney, James Talbot, and Blake Bowen on the bookings in from the first half. On the Corpus Christi side, conversely, it is Philip Mayaka who's on a yellow. Tracy Boise left behind bodily as Amon goes down in a heap. Wide of the play.
You're good.
Blake Bowen flaring his nostrils. Would you like to see Blake Bowen maybe get a little bit more involved for Corpus Christi here?
Oh, certainly. I mean, he's such a quality player, but sometimes you're told to stay up and stretch the opponents and wait for the ball to come to you.
It might very well in this moment. Cam Thomas served in from deep by Langlois, and that's easy pickings for Jonathan Cleaver. Watch the USL on CBSSN August 5th for a crucial League One showdown. The Richmond Kickers host the newcomers, York Cosmos. Both teams fight for much-needed points in their endeavor to try and get into the quest for the playoff climb. Again, that is on August 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern on CBSSN. Two of the real icons of the sport in this country. Good to have the Cosmos back in the fold. Sprinting ahead at full gate, Shannon Gomez. Right in his way is Mayaka. Andrew Booth. Only player in this Corpus Christi team that has experience playing here at AC Boise. As that comes skewing through the area. He was on the field for Spokane Velocity in the first ever match in Athletic Club Boise Stadium.
Is that the day they set the record for the biggest crowd?
Not quite. They would do it a couple games after that, but it was a massive one on hand, pushing 7,000.
It's wonderful support to see. Absolutely brilliant. Love these clubs are becoming more and more part of their communities throughout the country. It's very European that soccer clubs are very much at the heart of the communities throughout Europe, and you are seeing it growing in that way here in the States.
It is a living organism, and you start to feel the repercussions and the ripples from that when the stadium feels alive like this.
Yeah, very much so. You feel part of a community, wearing the shirt in the streets during the week. It's all part of it.
Ricketts lurching into the box, bodily a fingertip to it from James Talbot. Even though he will wag that very same finger, it will be a corner kick.
Probably wasn't going in, but you can't take any chances, James Talbot. Nice little play here. Ricketts just putting it in. It's quite a tight angle for Blake Bodley. Who knows, maybe it would have sneaked in, but the goalkeeper, either way, can't take chances, pushes it out for the corner.
Cometh the 52nd minute. Is it a moment of real notable stature when this game is over? Charlie Adams, a Heineken corner kick. Target in the bullseye. It comes down in the box, and before any of those questions can be answered, it is a foul call. And our referee today is Christopher Calderon, and he has been a busy boy.
I think he's been a very good referee. Really do. He's controlled this match.
Rest of the crew today: Alexander Arita, Jared Mosher running the lines as the assistant referees, and Patricia McCracken is the fourth official. Will likely be much more worthy of employ in this half, with the substitutions largely affecting this game potentially, specifically on the Boise side.
Yeah, it's going to come soon. Probably 60th minute is when most coaches make their changes, but you can see the subs getting ready, so it's going to be imminent changes, and such talent they can bring off the bench, AC Boise.
Now, we talk about all the firepower that Boise do have on offer, and rightfully so. This is an interesting note that came out in the wash just preparing for this game. Boise have allowed 6 goals to opposing substitutes this year. That's the second most in the league. A rip-roaring tackle, and in the exchange, it's come away to Boise. Talbot flying out of goal to deal with it. Gomez.
I think one of the problems for AC Boise has been that they've conceded a lot of goals. They've scored 29, they've conceded 28.
Sure.
That's where you've got to tighten up. And they certainly have been tight here today in defense. Jonathan Cleaver, a big part of that. Whereas Corpus Christi have been really good in defense recently. They've got 6 clean sheets already this season. And they've really kept it tight in the back throughout the recent games.
Being tested now by Tumi Moshaban. And just as he cut clear of each wave of defense, there was another one there to offer resistance, and that is why Corpus Christi been able to turn this aspect of their team into effectively chainmail armor for their goalkeeper, foul 1.
In fact, specifically for Corpus Christi, only conceded 2 in the last 4, and one of those a 94th minute goal from one Knoxville at the very end of the match. So they really have been hard to break down, and I think again credit to Eamon Zaid and the way he sets his teams up. Might not score a ton, but they certainly give you very little.
Posting consecutive league clean sheets for the first time this year. And as you mentioned, that cup tie mixed into the middle that they almost got a clean sheet from. If there's one thing that Eamon Zaid knows how to do, it is win, and win with whatever he's got. Into the box, Moshe Bon among! It's free! It's James Talbot. That was the most heart-racing moment likely of the game so far for Corpus Christi.
It was very close, wasn't it? Once again, just knocking on the door, AC Boise.
Ricketts goes it again. Now they've got their antennas up. Boise have a corner.
Have a look at it again. Ball comes in. Great chest. Moshe Bomb puts it in. Thomas Among. To be fair, I think the defender blocked Thomas Among's shot, in which case that's great defending by Corpus Christi.
Not an inch given. Not without a fight, at least. Taking up the visage of the manager, Eamon Zaid. A moment ago, not sure if you saw, paying keen attention, you might have. Jesus Perea had the match shirt on, but he'll have to wait for now. Corner kick, Charlie Adams. Wasted away, Bodley taking it. Always looked like he was shaping to shoot, but in the end, it is a harmless effort from him from outside the box. Dangler. That will be the same case there, but off the block. Talbot will arrive to it and take it down at feet. Extract every second before picking it up.
In Corpus Christi, after the first 20 minutes, they struggled to play through. They've been playing through fairly comfortably. When AC Boise try the high press, they're finding ways to get through, especially with Blake Bowen. So good on the ball and very difficult to tie down.
Here's a look at Eamon Zaid, who is probably thinking a little bit about the player you just mentioned, Blake Bowen, and how they can get him into some more dangerous areas for Corpus Christi and make things a little bit more precarious for AC Boise as play is stopped.
Yeah, throw in, I don't know if it's a throw in taken from the wrong place and now reversed and given to Corpus Christi. Let's see what it's all about. The camera's not quite going to where the action is. It is one of the rules these days that if you take the throw in from the wrong place, it immediately gets reversed, and that seems to have been the case.
And with the referee as alert as he's been to maybe some of the tactics to stagnate the play, to put it as kindly as possible today for Corpus Christi, gotta imagine he's going to be very literal with the stoppage time allotment at the end of this.
Probably, and also with throw-ins, by the way, it's 5 seconds to take the throw. So if you take too long, or if you take it from the wrong place, it can be reversed and given to the opposition.
Well, on the topic, Arsene Wenger has proposed a kick-in. How do you feel about that?
A kick-in for
instead
as
of
opposed
a
to a throw-in. I don't know if that's, I mean, then every throw-in becomes like a corner or a free kick. You can just throw it all the way into the box. I'm not so sure. Need to think more about that. Just throwing that one on me.
It makes my skin crawl a little bit, and I can't quite explain why.
Well, it just means a throw-in at the halfway line. You can never throw it into the box, but you can certainly kick it into the box. So then it just becomes a case of everyone wants a 6'5" center forward for all these long balls.
Back to the soccer. It's Dangler sweeping in. Enough with the philosophy corner. Apologies for that. Bowen dancing through one tackle, but just a clot of purple shirts around him. It was a Boise player that went down, but the ball is quickly extracted by Corpus Christi. The cross comes straight in and straight out. Booth brushing to the back post. Bowen will circle around it and keep it on. Bowen with no goal contributions in the last two. Hoisted into the box, just missing out on the first bite. The second one would not be allowed because Nick Moon had hopped in his chariot and shoveled away at the back. Dangler high for the header, comes down. Keegan whipping at it the whole way.
A good little bit of pressure there from Corpus Christi. And they certainly have come here to play. They're not a case of dropping into a low block and defending. They're going punch for punch here with AC Boise.
Regardless of what takes place over the next half hour, a strong acquittal is being made for the progress of this Corpus Christi project. Again, going 10 games to start the year without winning, the longest stretch by any expansion team in their first year. Oh, that's a slicing ball. The cutback measured horribly. No other two ways to slice it. Thomas Among popping a tire at the end and missing the mark.
It's a great chance from Thomas Among. Beautiful ball played back there by Jonathan Ricketts, and he's really got a hit target from there. He's had a couple of little half chances in the last few minutes, Thomas Among, and you just wonder whether there's going to be some changes with him going off and the likes of Kostishin perhaps coming on to replace him.
Set of Boise subs to be made. And it is that gruesome twosome that combined so well against Greenville. Goal and assist for each of them. Jesus Brea, who scored the first, assisted by Dennis Kostishin, who then returned the favor by scoring the second, bar down. A lot of headlines we made, rightfully so, by the Lucas Meek bicycle kick, but that Kostishin goal was really a marvel. It was his first goal in 7 games in the league. And he's come on. It's a substitution provided by Heineken. Kostishin providing his quality. Bit of a nervous defensive clearance at the near post. Boise once more commencing to lean on the game. Nick Moon has come over to this right-hand side as well. Has this amplifying effect, Nick Moon, for whichever 10 he's playing in the sidecar of, just because of his ability to carry the ball and combine. In this instance, though, he's committed a foul.
It just seems they have more attacking possibilities now, the home side. Both Barea and Kostishin can score and have scored plenty. Kostishin 6, Jesus Brea 1 in 2 matches, which is not a bad return. And you add that to Blake Bodley and Thomas Among and Nick Moon, and there's, wow, potential to score a lot of goals there.
It shouldn't be glossed over as well. Correa made his debut on the road against Cosmos and then made his starting debut on the road against Greenville. This is his first impression in front of these people. First home match for him, and his first touch comes in his own half. Quickly eschews into the attacking end and sweeps wide. Angled in back towards him, and it never gets there. Boo Boo Medina had followed him like a shadow. He's very quietly covered a lot of ground in midfield today, Boo Boo Medina. Andrew Booth slyly jiving by one. Still.
Just heard that Nate Miller got a yellow card. So clearly getting a little bit frustrated with the fact that they can't break down this Corpus Christi defense.
Didn't score in the second half in the Palmetto State. They didn't score in the first half here, and it's very rare you see this Boise side go 3 periods of play without at least rippling the back of the net once. Hopping on his horse to arrive, and just about doing so is Patrick Langlois. Pondeka. And it's blotted out for what will be a corner kick. These are important moments for Corpus Christi with the ball dead to maybe catch some breath and get their legs back underneath them.
And also back to what Eamon Zayed said. He said our strength is going to be set pieces. Set pieces and catching them in the channels when they push too many fullbacks forward. Well, certainly they've done well down the width, Corpus Christi, in those channels. And now let's see what they can do with their set piece.
It's Blake Bowen's turn. It's hit off the line by Thomas Among. Pieces picked up by Kahim Thomas. Tethering touch to bring it in. Now a shot that just dips right down into the midriff of Jonathan Cleaver, who deposits into the path of Among, who now gets it wide for Bodley. Blake Bodley. He's pulled back. It's got to be a yellow. Fleeing the scene of the crime is the defender. Didn't get a great read on who that Corpus Christi player was.
Sam Roscoe, perhaps, the other big centre back?
That looks to be the case. So both center halves now on a yellow card.
And that was deliberate as well, which is, is definitely a yellow card and a very risky one.
Blake Bodley doing it for the badge. The man who has a tattoo of the state of Idaho on his arm, the first signing in club history. Roscoe goes in the book to join what is becoming quite the mash unit in that regard for Corpus Christi. Free kick to deal with. On the menu for Charlie Adams. Charting in off the head of Jake Dangler, who met it on the rise and puts it rainbow arc over goal. He scored 5 headed goals in his decorated USL League One career.
I thought he did well to actually get to the header, and then I thought he could have directed that down. He's a big guy. Maybe needed a bit more of a jump or better direction, but he really got himself into a good position to have got a goal. The first goal of the match.
James Talbot just meandering and maneuvering around his own 18. Not quite sure what the stoppage is for here. Players getting drinks of water all about. I don't think it's another air quality stoppage. Teams haven't convened into the dugouts.
But he's certainly asking for something there, James Talbot. Maybe he wants drinks, or seems to be trying to reach out to the bench.
And it's Charlie Adams who's down after putting that ball into the mix. Not a player that's played a lot of full 90s in the last couple of years of his career.
They've got options on the bench. Dominic Gasso, perhaps. Omar Yeye, if they want something slightly more attacking.
I've already made the singular double barrel change in the game, Nate Miller. With Correa coming on, as well as Dennis Kostishin moments ago. On the other side of this, it'll be an interesting one. Raymond Zayed as this Corpus Christi team. It's a very tight-knit group. There are not a lot of players that have come in from maybe the wilderness, if you will, throughout the course of the year to offer their services. The same couple of names have appeared very commonly on the team sheet to that point. They've used the fewest subs per game in the entirety of USL League One. Only 2 teams in the division have averaged under 4 per match, and one of them is Corpus Christi. Dominic Gasso is going to come on to replace Charlie Adams. Started last 4 games in a row after only having made 2 starts prior, the former Detroit City FC man.
He did get caught in possession in that last match against Greenville Triumph. And one of the goals that Nate Miller was rather annoyed about. He felt that they gave them away a little bit too easily, didn't defend as well as they should have, although defending a lot better here today with this clean sheet.
Nick Moon, one of him is Kostashin. The interior option was Among, and now the triangle is completed. This is a pretty passage of play starting to unfold. Gassel back behind the ball in numbers, Corpus Christi. Brea. No foul there. Down the line it goes. Inch perfect delivery. Kyan Thomas out on the front foot. Only one man in the middle is Keegan. He looked up and saw he might have a chance, and just coming up over him was the swanning shadow of Jonathan Cleaver.
Again, good goalkeeping. In those situations, you can't take the risk that there's a little flick on. Comes and deals with it, gives away the corner, but that's what he had to do. Jonathan Cleaver been really good today.
You can't lose his cool, though. It's a corner kick of real menace for Corpus Christi. At the near stick. It doesn't cause any trouble. Looked like it hit Phil Mayaka's hand, who's on a yellow card, but no call coming. And Boise suddenly flying in formation. It's a 3v2. Leading the break, it's Among. What a recovery from Andrew Booth.
I thought Thomas Among was away there. He probably thought so as well. Just seemed to slow down before making the pass. Could he have made it a little bit earlier? Hard to say. I mean, he's in the 70th minute and he's had that long run. He's probably gassed. And a nice breakaway there by the home side.
And it flips the field from one corner to another corner. It belongs to Boise. It belongs to Blake Bonnelly. Gets away from Dangler, a finalizing header. Going to skip into the custody of Nick Moon. Boise unrelenting and undaunted. And on the right foot, necessary intervention. Gasso sifts it back in again. Another headed clearance. Sam Roscoe. Got a sign in the window that says closed for business. And suddenly there's only 20 minutes left in this game.
Yeah, I'm just thinking Corpus Christi mustn't now, well, if they can, if they want to, but I'm just thinking it might not be wise to sit back and try and hold on to the draw, because there's so many good attacking pieces to this Boise side that someone's going to get a breakthrough, you think. So they've got to keep pressing as they are doing now, trying to play through and create their own opportunities as well. And hopefully they don't sit back.
They haven't won on the road, but they have had a handful of draws, that's for sure. Among was hoping to make the difference that would leave that in the rear view, but instead he's going to just narrowly miss out.
And that was a wonderful cross coming in for Thomas Among there to get on the end of. He's shaking his head because he's thinking, I'm not going to get many better crosses than that. Look at this turn. Kostashin whips that in. He gets there as well, Thomas Among. It's not like he's beaten by the defender, and that's why he's annoyed with himself. He's got to make better contact with that ball.
Kind of a lost art in the modern game. Not a lot of teams like to get the ball delivered in from the wide areas. Mayaka's struggling with it. This Boise team is not shy about it, though, and they've got a lot of players that have mastered that particular craft, leading the league in open play crosses by a wide margin with nearly 300 entering today. Maybe a chance for another. Barea. Jesus Barea with company in the form of Dominic Gasso. Two Sharks defenders circling. Mayaka's going to lose out. And although he had retraced the ball and looked like he might win it, he had fouled up Thomas Pondek in the process. Again, Mayaka's the lone Boise player that was booked in that first half. How about the shift being put in by that man, Thomas Pondeka, who has scarcely been able to contribute, making only his 5th start of the year. He's been massive today for Corpus Christi, who will, in fact, make their first alteration of the game. And they maybe were saving this one. An arrow in the quiver of Ayman Zayed. It's Nacho Abial, tied for the league lead in assists this year with 4 other players on 6. Not gone more than 2 games without an assist in the league since May 10th. That would be the case if he doesn't get one in the next 18 minutes. Bowen is bound up by Josh Yarrow. Watch the USL Championship in Spanish on TUDN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Go to uslchampionship.com to complete USL TV listings. Shannon Gomez. Fans trying to inject maybe one more push to get AC Boise beyond Corpus Christi FC. Did seem like Ayman Zayed was putting a little bit more extra emphasis on this game. A pivotal point in Corpus Christi's season. Chance to come out of the shadow of what has been a really good run of form that has also almost exclusively existed at home and go make a big statement in the league in the playoff pursuit for Corpus Christi against one of the real contenders. This team has been lockjawed and tight-fisted all the way throughout.
Yeah, if you look at their last 7 league matches, 4 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss, Corpus Christi, they really have found some form. It's a pity for them. It was such a slow start to the year.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, because of the high temperatures and air quality this evening, referee has called for...
There will be a break with a quarter hour left to reevaluate. We did see this at the World Cup. It changes games. Teams are allowed to tactically reevaluate, change the plan in a way that just isn't really possible in 45 continuous minutes.
Yeah, it does change it a bit, and the thought behind what the coaches have to say changes. I think this is it's more of a water break because it's happening halfway through each half as opposed to, the air break as well, I guess. I'm not quite sure how you recover from an air break unless you can breathe some oxygen. But certainly it's a water break.
You just see the physio there. You can see the air tank.
Oh,
you had it down. Yeah, you can see it on the right side of your screen now with that too. Players being allowed, because of the air quality, to get a little bit more oxygen and try and get that last little bit of life in their lungs to get across the line. Just an interesting little wrinkle that makes this specific game unique because of the air quality today.
Yeah, just seems that Blake Bodley's taken it, but nobody else seems that bothered about the air quality. Coach just giving a few thoughts there, Nate Miller. But yes, to your point, it does, you've now got a game of quarters, not halves, and that really does change how you go. You get a chance to have a breather. And certainly if you're the home side and you're putting the opposition under pressure, just gives the opposition time just to slow it all down, reevaluate, rethink. And momentum gets lost. And I think that is what is frustrating some coaches.
Of course, when you've got the beautiful mind that both Nate Miller and Ayman Zayed have, you do just have to ask the question, what is the wrinkle, if any, the risk taken by one of these two managers to see if they might be able to get that little extra bit more that could prove so important at the end of the season, given how close things are 1 to 10 and even beyond that?
I think Nate Miller's already made those. He's got 3 substitutes. He's brought on attacking players, especially in Jesus Barea and Dennis Kostashin. He's got a ton of attackers on the pitch. I think you just got to hope that one of them comes up with something. Thomas Amang should have done more with the header that he had from that Dennis Kostashin cross. But you've got to have faith in your players that that they're going to get a few more chances and maybe take one of those towards the end of the match. And for Eamon Zaid, on the other hand, he's only made the one change, and he's looking at his team thinking, well, can they defend what they've got and maybe even sneak a winner? So he's putting faith more on the defensive side of his team.
Moved away at the back. We are back in motion with a pivotal quarter hour and then maybe a little bit more at the end of it here in the state of Idaho. Much more with Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey. I'm Peyton Gallagher. And this should be a thrilling conclusion. Blake Bowen sneaking it forward, but Jake Keegan was a step behind it. Another good intervention by Andrew Booth to keep it for Corpus Christi. I think very silently Andrew Booth has maybe been one of the best players on the field today for either side. Covered every blade of grass.
Yeah, it's hard to pick out one particular player. I mean, you make a very good point about Andrew Booth, but been a couple of others who've done fairly good.
Into the box, and at the last stitch, Corpus Christi refusing to split.
Yeah, you could look at the big central defenders of Corpus Christi. They've taken a lot of pressure, especially the first 20 minutes. There's just no one who stood out and put their hand up and gone, I'm the man of the match. Jonathan Cleaver, maybe, of any of the Boise players, might probably be their most influential player.
Well, it's his opposite number, James Talbot, under examination in the present tense. Still scoreless. Both teams still charging hard. Set of expansion sides in the USL League One showing off the precise degree of quality on offer in the division this year. Real white knuckler.
It's a problem for the keeper there, James Talbot. He's got Jake Dengler stood right next to him. It's whatever, he's 6'4". That's a big challenge.
It's a balloon ball into the middle. Up to it first it looked like Roscoe. Now in on the left foot. Oh my goodness. Kostishin had nearly coaxed the ball into the top corner.
What a strike from Dennis Kostishin. And I've seen him do this a few times this season. Brilliant hitter of a ball, but this is not far off at all. It was dipping at the end. That literally was a foot too high. Otherwise, it would have been one of the goals of the season. Fantastic strike from Kostishin.
Almost like a falconer directing his bird of prey to go and get a job done. Some players just have a special relationship with the ball. Was left in a little bit of an awkward spot by Jake Krull, but kept by Boise. Can they press their thumb down a little bit now in these final 10 minutes? Never been able to establish a grip in the final third after those first 15. Nick Moon hoping to do something about that, just to beat off in chorus with Brea. Served in ball on another headed intervention by Sam Roscoe. Fading light, falling upon a crucial phase. Butley dipping in right at the top of the sixth. Mayaka hoping for a re-entry. Away again by Booth. Bit of an awkward skip, back spinning away. It was Kostishin abided enough time to get it back to the goalkeeper as he starts to build the game from the back.
He's got a wonderful strike of the ball, this Dennis Kostishin. I mean, real quality. Just feel that there should be more coming from him. Just looking at the way he hits the ball and strikes it, and I think him and Jesus Barea could be two of the most talented players in League One, and perhaps you might see a lot more from them as the season goes on.
Dueling banjos in the pockets. Texans are dialing up one final change potentially here. Looks like Jackson Dietrich is getting the referendum on the final preparatory checklist. Assist for him last game against Greenville. first USL League One goal contribution since October 28th of 2023, when he was playing Northern Colorado Hailstorm for Eamon Zayat. That started 8 of the last 9 games in the league prior to today. Did just about seem as Bowen rounds the corner and unrelentingly rushes to the end line. Infield onto the right. A late arriving run and it's blocked. That was a big one for Boise.
Yeah, good defending by Boise there. Corpus Christi nearly creating that chance. It's been a match of really good approach play, some lovely crosses, some great dribbling, and just maybe very good defending, stopping that final ball on goal. And then when it does get through, both goalkeepers have made some decent saves here tonight.
Scoreless in some ways feels like a good final form for this one to take with how hard each team has defended their goal. That being said, nobody would be complaining about a goal. Ball in. Nudged back into the box, and everybody had just picked the wrong shoulder to lurk on the defender, Jake Dangler. Boise, a little bit road weary. A long week of travel before this. Is there enough left in the tank? Kostashin. It's stylish from him. Among, about facing and now setting eyes on the target. Sternly steering one into the area. It's headed away by Patrick Langlois. Loose first touch. Still there for Boise. Miyaka. Gasso and Krul. Kostashin letting it ride and ripping a shot on goal. That is a standout save. James Talbot.
It is a good strike and such a good save. Kostashin just turns here. Again, just we mentioned him a minute ago. He strikes a ball as good as I've seen anyone strike it in League One or even in USL Championship. That's a fantastic effort and a very good save again from James Talbot.
And it's Andrew Booth who's ailing, providing just a little bit of extra time to collect the nerves ahead of this corner kick.
Maybe just a warning for Corpus Christi. Just keep a very close eye on Dennis Kostashin. And I would suggest Jesus Barea as well. Both of them really quality players.
Kostashin's conjured not the only 2 chances of this half. There was a couple of half moments from Long where he couldn't fully get purchase of the ball in the box. But the only 2 times where it looks like James Talbot has had to extend himself in this 45 minutes have come from Dennis Kostashin. Andrew Booth still being stretched out. It is a hot one. And needless to say, it's been an exhaustive affair.
I'm just wondering what the procedure is here, because if you get treatment, you have to go off for at least a minute. And the only excuses or times that you don't have to is when there's blood or when there's concussion. So having now taken up time, this is obviously done so that you can't slow the match down. I'm assuming he has to leave the pitch. Doesn't look like it. Or does it? Yes, maybe it does. Maybe he is heading towards the touchline. The referee keeping an eye on that. So that obviously done, and that law changed so that you can't, well, the punishment for slowing the game down is you get a minute off the pitch. So you have to weigh up whether it's worth it, because a lot of players were just slowing the game down by faking injuries.
Absolutely. And it's important to also round in and note this. Corpus Christi have made only 2 changes, but they've come in separate windows past halftime. So if Andrew Booth can't continue, that's the final change they're allowed to make. Ball in. Comes bouncing across the bow. And latching onto it are Corpus Christi. There's a twist, it looked like, from Abial. Beg your pardon, it was actually Bowen leading the break. And it does appear at the time that it's down to 10 men for Corpus Christi defending without Andrew Booth, who's still getting medical attention. They will have rehearsed for this situation. Just didn't think that this would be how we'd end up at 10 men with all the yellow cards in the first half. Down the line to Bodley. Among is waiting in the tall grass and never gets close to him. And suddenly it's Corpus Christi on the front foot. And a well-tuned ball down the line and a hearty effort to get there. Into the edge of the area. And Jake Dangler dons the cape. Keeps Boise with a clean nose. Now suddenly it's opening up. Kostashin. Afterburner on. Kostashin! He glides it wide, but doing so without the slightest degree of indignation.
He was under all sorts of pressure from behind there, Kostashin, and still manages to get a really, really good strike. Now there's more problems here for Corpus Christi, who, by the way, were very positive at the other end. Well, we're looking at Kostashin here. Just there, just pulls the trigger. It wasn't far away from tucking it in that far corner. But just before that, Corpus Christi had gone down the other end and tried to create a chance for themselves. So they're not sitting back, and it's lovely to see that style of play. They could very easily just drop into a low block and say, we're holding on to the point, we're going to defend. But look, they've got numbers up for those white shirts in Boise's half of the pitch.
Just such a high-level game in which both teams have been able to follow their specific blueprints for how they wanted to play today quite well from tip to tail.
Eamon Zayed saying to us that he was disappointed, or they were all disappointed when they drew at Cosmos. Said the mentality has changed. He said, we don't go away from home hoping to draw. We go looking to win. And certainly that's the way they're playing. Look now, there's 5 white shirts in Boise's half. Now, does that leave them short in defense? Well, not now, because they managed to drop back behind the ball.
This is the start of a 3-game road trip for Corpus Christi, who would love to leave here with all 3 points. That is becoming a task of increasing difficulty, though, as Boise are starting to really ask some dangerous questions with less than 40 seconds left before stoppage time is announced. So they slid the abacus about and done the tabulations for how much will be played beyond whatever is to come on this corner kick. Belongs to Dominic Gasso. At a good height. And biting into it is the Corpus Christi defender. Still there for Boise. A second service from Kostashin. Even that was breaking towards goal.
That's well taken in the end by James Talbot. It was a tricky one that he had to come and get there. Dennis Kostashin just bending that ball in.
7 minutes of stoppage time. That will feel like about a week, 7 days for Corpus Christi. Blake Bowen on it. Andrew Booth is back in the game and back amidst the buzz. Good ball. Dangler puts his noggin on it. Escapes Boo Boo Medina in the end. Because of how this one has been played, it's starting to end up in a position in which if either team can't get a go-ahead, it would be crushing for the opponent. Kostashin served in, free man, got to get it gone. It's blocked away on the doorstep. It was Berea, a second shot, saved off the line. Talbot didn't see it till it was right on top of him. He may have saved that with his chest.
I think you're right, I think he did. Long shot coming from outside the box after Berea couldn't quite turn in the box. Kostashin once again causing so many problems. If he'd have just controlled that immediately, Berea might have had a chance. Here's the shot. And it's coming in from, was it Jake Krul hit that?
Neither glove required. And that Superman badge square in the middle of the chest of James Talbot. All but a target for the destination of that shot, regardless of redirection. And I think you're right. It looked like he may have taken a touch right in front of him. Alexis Cerritos is up and warming as one final alteration for Ayman Zayed. Gesso guiding wide. This is Yarel. Comes over everybody, but falls at an awkward vantage for the center back. It looked like it was Keeney who nods it out of play, and this will open up the window for AC Boise to get every big body forward.
It was a good ball in, by the way. It was tempting for James Talbot, and in the end, he couldn't come for it.
Outswinger, Talbot will come for this. A half-hearted punch. Still on among Kostishin. And it's still going.
If there's one player you wanted that ball to fall to, it was Kostishin. He hits it really well, but doesn't get over the ball. Pressure, you're right, the goalkeeper flaps at that one. James Talbot doesn't quite make a connection. And then here it drops to him, and he hits it so hard, but just gets under the ball. Yeah, frustrated with himself. I would have put money on him getting over that and at least testing James Talbot.
Didn't look like that ball rotated a single time as it left the stadium, and here is the change. Alexis Cerritos coming on. Unused sub in the last game against Greenfield. That was the first time this year he has not played in a game. No shots for him in the last 5. Not on target in the last 9. Wouldn't it be a story if he scored? Jackson Dietrich got a yellow card in the midst of all of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, substitutions for Corpus Christi.
We are halfway through the allotted stoppage time. Boise have all but owned the ball in this extension period, and that will continue. Gasso, a shaking of the 8 balls, if you will. Dietrich and Gasso, and the verdict is belongs with Corpus Christi. Ask again later.
Don't waste any time there, James Talbot. You're on a yellow already. The temptation, of course, and what keepers used to do and have been doing for years is every trick in the book to slow down that goal kick. But right now, a referee would normally put his hand up and start counting down. You get a second yellow, you're off.
No need to count down. The Boise fans will do that for you. And again, as my partner just pointed out, a yellow card in the first half for Talbot for time wasting. Moon maneuvering back to Yarrow and Dangler. Building anticipation. And downhill momentum towards the attacking objective for Boise. Here on their home patch. Shifting through the gears quite well. Krull! Another save! By all measures, Talbot's kept it clear. Krull again at the end line. Gets there ahead of the goalkeeper, Talbot. This is one of the all-time goalkeeping performances in USL League One. James Talbot eyeing a clean sheet. Off the head of Among. And what's happened here? Was he offside?
Oh, Jake Krull came so close there. Great run. Lovely ball put through for him. Hits it really well with his left foot, and goalkeeper makes the block. Both goalkeepers, first half, Jonathan Cleaver made 2 or 3 really good saves. James Talbot's done the same here towards the end of the match. And a lot of people would say, well, a 0-0 draw must have been a boring game. It's been a fantastic game. And only 2 brilliant performances by the goalkeepers has kept it as a clean sheet on both sides.
Talbot did miss that stretch in the middle of the year, and his clean sheet numbers aren't the highest in the league. But when you factor in with the absence, he has actually kept the second highest rate of clean sheets of any goalkeeper in the division. Only Burns Shipman has had a higher percentage of games played where he's not allowed a goal as a goalkeeper, and James Talbot is announcing himself as one of the household names in that position in the league this year today. Trying to make it 3 successive clean sheets for him. Berea maybe overcooked that cross. Nick Moon, just not enough pasture to be able to punch it back in. And that could be it. If it is a shake on a share, it will be a handshake of mutual respect between 2 teams that have gone the distance.
and have both done so, playing attacking football whenever they could. Really positive from Corpus Christi. Wasn't quite sure if they'd come here and attack as much as they have. I thought they might sit a bit deep, but they've gone for it. They have mixed it up with Boise, and it's provided us with great entertainment tonight.
One last go for Boise or Corpus Christi. Referee looking at the watch. Cleaver a little bit haphazard about it. He's lost the ball. Foul is called.
I didn't see much in the way of a foul, but you've got to be careful there. Jake Dingler putting your hand on someone's head. Lucky not to get a yellow card for that.
I mean, it's possible there was an offside. And as the referee just whistled this thing well nigh over.
Think he has?
For what's been a great game, it comes to a lurching stop at the 97th minute with a bit of controversy at the finish line. Photo finish 0-0 between Corpus Christi and AC Boise, not for lack of trying.
Well, pleased to see there's hugs all round at the end, so there's no bitterness after the game. And again, just very, very positive from both sides the way they played. Can't be offside. I think it's a push on Miyako is what he said. I didn't see much of a push. That's Jake Dingler has to be very careful with. That to me is a yellow card, pushing someone's head down the way he did there to Blake Bowen. But I think the referee has given the call against the foul, and then he's decided, right, time's up, that's it. And to be fair, the only reason you continue with time is for a penalty. Other than that, when the clock is up, it's up. But I think he didn't quite explain to everyone why he blew his whistle at that point.
Bill Hamid is mixing it up. The goalkeeper's coach for Corpus Christi with some of the Boise players, and a game that was absolutely thrilling. From end to end, comes to its final moment with the bell tolling for a score of 0-0. We'll break it all down when we return from the state of Idaho. Scoreless in the USL League One between AC Boise and Corpus Christi in their first ever meeting.
Inside, he dribbles past one defender, he's heading towards the box, he shoots, goal!
Heaven together dancing, all together dancing, cheek.
What's your name? I'm Max. Derek.
KTVB Plus, streaming live local radar 24/7. Watch as the storm rolls in and check the forecast whenever you want. Stream now and watch for free. Live radar 24/7, only on KTVB Plus.
From the beginning, Idaho has been home. Since 1968, we've stayed true to what matters most. Hard work, local ranching, and exceptional beef. As pioneers of American Wagyu, we're involved every step of the way, from ranch to table. Unforgettable beef, done right, by people who care. Snake River Farms, proud supporters of Athletic Club Boise.
And scene. It took absolute effort from both teams involved in this contest today, and neither would relent at the full allotment of time in the portion of play. AC Boise 0, Corpus Christi 0. With Gary Bailey, I'm Peyton Gallagher. A game that took the breath away on multiple occasions, almost a miracle. We didn't see at least one tally go up on the board, and it started early with AC Boise being the first to author a moment of real instance.
They won the front foot Mushabar, and they just gets that flick on and it goes over. There was a whole bunch of chances. I mean, you could have about 10 highlights just from the first half alone of opportunities for both sides, mostly for Boise on the attack here. There's an overhead kick. This one, the keeper makes a good block there. Really does. And then Nick Moon has an effort. That gets blocked, comes back, and a 25 yards perhaps. Nice flying save from Cleaver. Just making sure that he keeps that clean sheet.
He would. Into the 91st minute. Big moment for James Talbot. This is our restore move of the match, and it looked like it would be the move that would change the game for good. Saved off the doorstep and then struck hard from distance, a save with the chest for James Talbot, who was just not going to let this one go.
And they're coming through a lot of bodies as well, so difficult for Talbot to see what was happening. Herrera, by the way, just couldn't get it right. Just couldn't quite get on the end of that one and eventually gets a shot. Just looking at the stats, a lot more shots for Boise, a lot more possession. Expected goals 2.26, just 0.54 for Corpus Christi. So Boise, for me, dominating the chances, but Corpus Christi tried to play the game. They had chances themselves, and I thought they put on a really good effort, the visiting side. But in the end, like you say, just can't believe there were no goals scored here tonight.
An exhibition of the rising tide in the USL League One. The quality is on the up, and two expansion clubs put on a show today. Over 90 minutes, neither of which, despite the different means and modalities of play, was able to reign supreme in this game. Folks, for my partner, Gary Bailey, I've been Peyton Geller, and as always, this has been the USL League One. We say happy trails from Boise. Our final score at Athletic Club Boise Stadium is 0-0. Folks, good night. We'll talk to you soon.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.